Imagine this: you're sitting on a park bench with someone you love. The sun is setting, the air is warm, and without thinking, your fingers find theirs. That simple act, just skin against skin, palms pressed together, does something extraordinary. It's not just comfort. It's not just affection. What happens in that moment is a silent, biological conversation between your bodies that science is only beginning to understand. This isn't poetic exaggeration. Researchers with EEG machines, heart monitors, and advanced brain imaging technology have proven that when two people hold hands with intention, something miraculous occurs deep within their nervous systems. Their heartbeats begin to match. Their brain waves align. Their breathing falls into sync. They become, in the most literal sense, harmonized. The story begins with a groundbreaking study at the University of Colorado Boulder, where scientists invited couples into their lab to investigate what they called interpersonal physiological synchronization. The setup was simple: partners sat together, holding hands, while sensors tracked their heart rates, breathing patterns, and even subtle changes in their skin's electrical conductivity. The results, published in the journal Scientific Reports, showed that within minutes of handholding, couples' heart rates synchronized with up to 78% accuracy. Their breathing patterns matched within 3 breaths per minute. Even more remarkably, this synchronization occurred faster and more completely in couples reporting higher relationship satisfaction. What's happening here isn't magic, though it feels that way. It's biology. The secret lies in a long, winding nerve called the vagus nerve, which runs from your brainstem down through your neck and into your abdomen. This nerve is your body's emotional superhighway, responsible for what scientists call co-regulation, the ability of one person's nervous system to influence another's. When you hold hands with someone you care about, the pressure and warmth of their touch activate specialized nerve endings called C-tactile fibers. These fibers, which respond optimally to temperatures around 32 degrees Celsius, the exact temperature of human skin, send signals racing up your spinal cord to your brain at speeds of up to 2 meters per second. Your brain then sends calming messages back down the vagus nerve. Your heart rate slows by an average of 8 to 10 beats per minute. Your muscles relax as tension drops by measurable degrees. Your blood pressure decreases by up to 10 millimeters of mercury. And remarkably, the same thing is happening simultaneously to the person whose hand you're holding. But the University of Colorado study was just the beginning. Researchers at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden took this further by adding fMRI brain scans to the equation. Their findings, published in Neuroimage, revealed that when romantic partners hold hands during stressful situations, their brain activity synchronizes in regions associated with pain processing and emotional regulation with 65% greater coordination than when not touching. Essentially, one partner's calm can literally become the other's calm through touch alone. Even more astonishing? The better the relationship quality, the stronger this neural synchronization. Long-term couples who reported high levels of satisfaction showed near-identical patterns of activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, a brain region crucial for empathy and emotional attunement, with activation levels matching within 15% of each other. Let's talk about oxytocin, often called the love hormone. When you hold hands, your pituitary gland releases this powerful chemical into your bloodstream at rates up to 30% higher than baseline. Studies from the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm reveal that oxytocin does 3 remarkable things simultaneously. It lowers cortisol, your primary stress hormone, by up to 26%, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest mode, within 90 seconds of contact, and enhances your ability to read facial expressions by 18%, making you more emotionally attuned to your partner. But here's what most people don't know: oxytocin release during handholding follows a dose-response curve. A quick, casual touch sparks a small release of about 10 to 15 pg/ml in blood plasma. But sustained, attentive contact, what researchers call therapeutic duration, typically 6 to 10 minutes, triggers a flood of up to 50 pg/ml that can linger in your system for hours. Now consider dopamine, your brain's reward chemical. A fascinating study from the University of Vienna found that handholding between partners stimulates dopamine production at levels comparable to a 15 mg dose of amphetamine, as measured by PET scans. But there's a crucial difference. While drug-induced dopamine spikes crash quickly, the dopamine from loving touch creates what neurologists call conditioned attachment that lasts. Every time you hold hands with your partner, you're unconsciously reinforcing their presence as a source of safety and pleasure. Over time, this conditions your brain to associate them with deep, visceral comfort, explaining why reaching for a longtime partner's hand can instantly ease anxiety in ways a stranger's touch never could. The implications extend far beyond romance. At the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami, scientists have spent decades documenting how handholding benefits everyone from premature infants to Alzheimer's patients. In one striking experiment published in Gerontologist, nurses held hands with dementia patients for just 15 minutes a day. Within 4 weeks, these patients showed 23% improvements in mood scores, 18% better cooperation with care, and 12% higher cognitive test scores. The explanation? Blood tests revealed 32% lower levels of inflammatory markers like interleukin-6 in patients who received regular, compassionate touch compared to controls. Parents, take note, your child's developing brain is exquisitely sensitive to this phenomenon. Research from the University of Washington's Institute for Learning and Brain Sciences shows that when parents hold their child's hand during stressful events, the child's amygdala, the brain's fear center, shows 40% less activation on fMRI scans. Even more impressive? The child's prefrontal cortex, responsible for reasoning and emotional control, lights up with 22% greater activity. In other words, your touch doesn't just comfort your child in the moment, it actively strengthens their capacity to self-soothe in the future. But here's where modern life gets in the way. A sobering study from the University of Virginia found that the average couple today spends less than 30 seconds per day in sustained, distraction-free touch, a dramatic 73% decline from just 2 decades ago. Smartphones are partly to blame. Research in environment and behavior shows the mere presence of a phone during interactions, even if it's not being used, reduces what psychologists call interpersonal resonance by 37%. When your attention is divided, your touch loses its neurological potency. The good news? Repairing this disconnect is simple, free, and available to anyone. Start with what relationship researchers call the daily handhold habit. Set aside 10 minutes, perhaps after dinner or before bed, to hold hands with your partner without speaking, without devices, without agenda. Pay attention to the subtle shifts in pressure and temperature. Notice how your breathing changes when you focus solely on this connection. For parents, incorporate handhold check-ins with your kids, moments where you pause the busyness to simply sit and hold hands while they tell you about their day. These practices aren't just sentimental, they're neuroscientific tools for building what researchers term biological attunement. The science leaves no doubt. When you hold someone's hand, you're engaging in one of the most sophisticated forms of communication humans possess. You're synchronizing heartbeats, aligning brain waves, and exchanging biochemical signals that say, wordlessly but powerfully, you're not alone. In a world of virtual connections and digital distractions, this ancient language of touch remains our most direct pathway to true togetherness. So tonight, reach out, take a hand, and let your bodies have the conversation that words could never fully express.